All right, here we're going to multiply monomials, one term, by a polynomial that could have more than one term here. So in order to do this, we need to recall the product rule. Remember, the product rule is when you have two numbers that you're multiplying together that have the same base and different exponents. What you do is you add the exponents. So if I had x squared times x to the third, it would be x to the 2 plus 3 is 5. So we're going to use that today. So for this first example 1, what you're doing is basically we're distributing. This x is going to be multiplied by the first term in here, x times x. And if you want to think of that as x to the first times x to the first, the product rule tells us that that's x, 1 plus 1 is 2. And then if you want to multiply the x to the first times 4, well, it's positive x times positive 4, so we know it's going to be positive. And then here we have a 4 and an x. X times 4 is just the same as 4 times x. Now let's look at the one here on the right. Sometimes when they're longer like this, it's a good idea to maybe put your finger over when you're starting off with these, or I'm just going to cross off so we're just looking at one thing at a time. So here, when I multiply the first two terms, I first look at those big numbers and I see a 5 times a 3 because we're basically multiplying all this together. So 5 times 3, though, I can multiply that and I get 15. And then if I look at the m's, I have m to the third times m to the second. So 3 times and 2 more times, we're multiplying m by itself 5 times. Okay, so we just multiplied that number outside of the parentheses by the first number inside of the parentheses. Now let's look at the next number. So we're just focusing on the second term. So 5m to the third times negative m. So this is a positive multiplied by a negative. So the answer is going to be negative. And then the numbers, this is 5 times 1. So that's just 5. And then the m's. 3 m's and 1 m is 4 m's. So we're done with that one. Now let's look at the last term we're going to multiply by. And it's a constant. So 5m to the third times negative 7. So this is a positive times a negative. So the answer will be negative. I just do the numbers. 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. But don't forget the variables. We still have m to the third, and there's no other m, so I'm just leaving it as m to the third.